Hi everyone, this is Jen Kinkade and I am filling in for an In the Mood to Scrap video today. I'm going to show you how I created this layout using this tribal inspired mood board. There are elements such as hand-cut letters, chevron design, and strips of words. I also use this layout by Marcy Penner as a source of inspiration to create this layout based on the mood board. What I liked most about Marcy's layout was how she used the chevron design to direct your eye to the photo in the layout. So let's get started. I have some gold rub-on stars by Studio Calico, wood grain bags by Allison Craft and Webster's Pages, and some wood veneers to add some texture by Freckled Fawn and Studio Calico. 2-piece exclusive metals and some Evalicious shop items such as these new puffy stickers. I have my white cardstock as my base and various pattern papers from the Hello Again and Wildflower collections by Cardabella. Be using snippets of each piece of pattern paper, and then I also will use some stickers from the Wildflower collection and various little die cuts from Crate Paper DIY shop. So I'm going to start out first by laying down my white cardstock as my base. And I've cut a piece of that chevron tribal inspired paper by Cardabella to mimic the overall look like Marcy Penner's layout did. And you can see how once I place this photo down, how the chevron directs your eye to the photo. And I also liked how the colors in that tribal pattern also matched my photo with the various book covers and jackets in the photo here of my daughter. Also, I have little enamel dots that I'll use to embellish the page as well. And now you're going to see that I normally tack things down from time to time, but I ended up making a mistake with the initial placement of this bag in this photo. So I think I actually have to move it around maybe 2 other times before I get it where I actually need it to be. I'm going to show you the cutout letters. What I did here was I cut these letters out with my Silhouette Cameo to use. At first I thought maybe I would just use the white at the top, but then I also traced some out using some of the Wildflower pattern paper. And in the end I decided that I liked the look of the patterned paper on the bottom, and basically what I did is I traced over it with that white to get certain patterns or phrases out of the patterned paper. And you see here, now I have to move this the first time because I realized that the photo is a little bit too low and it's going to swallow up my title. So I'm just going to lightly tack down the look of these hand-cut letters, and the font that I chose is called Paper Cute. It is not a free font, it's just a font that I've had in my library that I thought mimicked the look of a hand-cut title because I didn't necessarily trust freehand drawing these letters on my own, so that's why I chose that particular font for that hand-cut title look. And now I'm just deciding where I want to place this other photo of a stack of books, and oops, there goes that photo again because I forgot to put down these black and white strips of patterned paper that I was using to draw out some contrast of black and white from my daughter's tribal pants. She had some tribal leggings on that day in the bookstore as well, so I wanted to match that, as well as you remember some of the black and white elements from the mood board itself. So now I'm adding these strips of paper over that photo of the stack of books, and I'm speeding this up for the sake of time just because I do a lot of rearranging to see exactly where I want the typed words to go, and then I will go back and adhere them with a light bit of adhesive. And basically on this photo I'm just putting a little note to her from me, how I loved seeing her in her element of the bookstore. And I will mimic that again later on the right hand side of the main photo which you'll see in the pictures and not in the video. So here, I made another mistake. When I first laid that wow speech bubble down, I laid it down backwards, and I go about my merry way, tracing around the speech bubble and getting ready to cut it out, completely oblivious to the fact because, I mean, it's a palindrome. It didn't look like it was down backwards until I was actually getting ready to adhere the speech bubble down to this pattern paper. And luckily for me, because this was just an oval shape and all I had to do was really snip off the tail of the speech bubble. So now I have it fixed and I'm just going to lay it off to the side for now. I decided to back that photo with this wood grain bag and kind of tuck it there on the upper right, or upper left, I'm sorry, of my page. And that just kind of gives that photo a place to rest and be framed. And I'm just kind of playing around with some of the metal elements, trying to figure out where I want things to go. And this is just kind of trial and error, and I'm going to put that speech bubble there. And now I'm playing with some of the wood elements from Freckled Fawn, adding that epic arrow as part of my title. And now I am taking these wood veneer feathers and I glued them together real quick with my hot glue gun. And I decided I'm going to add a gold dipped element here, and so I'm going to slow down the video so you can see exactly what I did. I have some gold metallic zing and this Brilliance gold stamp ink, and it didn't bother me that I'd already adhered these two feathers together, and I'm just lightly inking the top half of these feathers. And because part of me doesn't really like how messy embossing powders get, you can see once I have these feathers inked, I'm just going to screw off the cap of my embossing powder and dip those little feathers right down in there. So there you have it. It creates a lot less mess when you can just have something smaller like that and it's just partially inked and you dip it right down in the embossing powder. So I'm going to get my embossing gun and I'm going to use my scissors to keep these feathers secure down on the paper so they don't blow, since they're a lighter element, and so I don't burn my fingers from the heat of the embossing gun. I'm just lightly going back and forth over that until it embosses how I like it. And normally with this gold zing, I don't completely heat all of the embossing powder up because I like when you don't melt it all, there is an extra shiny metallic look to it. So there you go. Now I'm going to bring my page back and start adding other elements here, and I'll probably speed this video back up for the sake of time. I'm kind of playing around with more things, and at this moment I've decided to remove that S, and I'm changing up the overall look of my title. And instead of it saying books, I'm going to center it around some of the other embellishments and make it more like epic book love, because everything else just seemed to fit a little bit better whenever I added some of my other embellishments. So I'm adding the metal flare, another 2Ps exclusive there, the Love Flare. And I'm going to adhere the feathers now with some hot glue to the corner of my photo. And I'm also playing around with this wood veneer heart from Freckled Fawn. I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want it to have purpose on my page, and I'm adhering the arrow flare right there because I thought it had a tribal element as well in the black and white, coordinating with elements of the mood board. And I'm going to do the same thing to this wood veneer heart now that I did with the feathers. Unfortunately, because I'm inking the whole thing, I can't just dip it down like I did last time. So I'm sprinkling it up with the embossing powder. I'm going to emboss that heart here with my gun. Again, using my scissors to hold that heart in place so it doesn't blow away and so I don't burn my fingers with the heat gun. Because you can see how easily it blew there just in that moment of the video. So now I'm cleaning up my space a little bit because I got some embossing powder that blew off of that heart, and I'm going to adhere that heart with my hot glue gun right there by the Epic and Love embellishment elements. And now I'm going to add some of those gold rub-on stars by Studio Calico, and because I just don't like to individually cut them out, I lightly lay the sheet down and try to press, not applying any extra pressure, because these stars come off super easy, and if you're not careful you will have some extra gold where you don't want it to be. Now granted, if you work with your scissors a little bit, if you get some extra rub-on on there, you can easily scrape that off, but just try to lightly rub that down. You can see I'm using my scissors to take some of the extra rub-on that I got there in a couple of those spots. And so now that I've added that, I'm just looking to add last minute embellishments because my page is just about done and where I want it to be. I thought I would add some stamping from some of those Evalicious stamps. I decided not to, and now I'm going to add some of the stickers from the Wildflower collection, placing them along that strip of black and white pattern paper, almost to create a banner. Yeah, but I'm adding different elements to the photo as well with some of these stickers. Just placing them here and there. That one up in the upper left corner. This is really just a trial and error process, what you like. There were just certain elements of those stickers, like the globes and the globe on a stack of books, that left-hand sided globe, that I thought were valuable to the story of this layout. Now I'm adding some of the die cuts from the DIY shop and Crate Paper, just little elements here and there along that strip. I just kind of see what works, what doesn't, what I like, what I feel adds depth to the page. And I saw that ampersand and thought it would be cool to add to the page right there. And so I moved that other globe sticker around to be able to add that ampersand. And so I'm just going to add my last few elements, a couple of different shapes here and there. And now I'm going to pull out some of those Evalicious puffy stickers to add some quick, tiny embellishments here and there for the page. And also these puffy stickers that I'm choosing coordinate with the tribal pattern and the chevron pattern paper in the photos. And now I'm just going to add some final touches using these freckled fawn enamel dots. I realize that globe's just a little bit crooked and I am fixing that. So a black enamel dot there, and I'm going to add an enamel dot from my Mind's Eye, the cut and paste collection, to that sticker in the upper left hand. And I'll finish this layout with adding machine stitching like I always do. And you can see how the different elements here with the hand cut looking title coordinate with the chevron tribal pattern and the black and white contrast and gold touches from the mood board. So I hope you had fun watching this, seeing how I converted my mood board into a page using various ideas of inspiration.